Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 4th of August 2023. So in today's newspaper discussion, we are going to cover some important topics from the editorial section of the newspaper, and also we are going to cover some other important articles. These topics are going to be important for the mains and prelims exam of UPSC. And also we have included some questions for your practice. So be regular in attending the newspaper discussion so that you can understand the holistically, right, all the topics that come in news. So let's start the discussion now. And these are the list of articles that we have included in today's discussion. Okay, so there are 8 articles that are listed in this page, and apart from this there are few more articles also that we are going to cover. Okay, so these are other articles that we are going to cover. So name of the articles, their relevance, and also page number is mentioned. So let's start the discussion for the first topic. It says nuclear signaling, the need for a new guardrails. Okay, so this topic is related to, let's say, nuclear weapons. We are going to understand about the threat of nuclear weapons and how to avert the threat of nuclear weapon. We are going to discuss about some of the strategies that have been used by different states, means different countries, right, across the world. And also we are going to discuss about some of the authors, prominent authors, who have evolved certain kind of strategies related to management of nuclear weapons, right? So we are going to discuss about it. So this topic is important under international relations for GS paper 2, and also it has some relevance with GS paper 3 as well. So let's start the discussion. Name of the topic is nuclear signaling, the need for the new guardrails. Okay, name of the topic is nuclear signaling, the need for new guardrails. Okay, all right. So in this topic, what we are going to discuss about, one important concept which is related to nuclear weapons. Right? So if we talk about what are nuclear weapons are weapons of mass destruction. Okay, they are known as weapons of mass destructions. And nuclear weapons have been developed by different countries across the world. Presently there are, let's say, more than let's say huge number of countries in the world that have nuclear weapons, and nuclear energy is also known as dual use technology. Okay, this is part of dual use technology. So nuclear weapons, I mean, nuclear technology can be used for two purposes, for military purposes and for civilian purposes. For generation of, let's say, power, we use nuclear power plants, and the same fuel, when it is enriched beyond a certain level, it can be used for nuclear weapons. So the technology that is used, it is dual use technology. And related to nuclear weapons, we do have, let's say, many countries that do have their own nuclear weapons, and they have their own nuclear, nuclear policy. Okay, many countries have their own nuclear policy. For example, Russia has a nuclear policy, India has a nuclear policy, China has a nuclear policy. Similarly, United States of America also has a nuclear policy. So all those countries that possess nuclear weapons, they do have a nuclear policy. And globally, right, there have been efforts to denuclearize the world. People are talking about how to reduce the prevalence of nuclear weapons across countries, but none of the countries want to give up on their nuclear weapon. Means those countries that already have the nuclear weapon with them, they do not want to give up their nuclear weapon. And also many other countries are willing to, let's say, acquire nuclear weapon, willing to let's say demonstrate the use of nuclear weapon. Why? Because nuclear weapon solves two purposes, right? it solves two purposes. So we are going to discuss about the purposes of having nuclear weapon. One of the purpose of having a nuclear weapon is for, let's say, establishing defense capability, okay, defense capability. Why defense capability? Because a country that possesses nuclear power, it is considered to be, let's say, a country who is more ready, right, for averting or to give answer, to give response to any other nuclear threat, okay. So it develops the nuclear capability of the state. Second thing is for deterrence purposes. Now, what do we mean by deterrence? Deterrence, see, those countries that possess nuclear weapons, so they do have an upper hand over those countries that do not have a nuclear weapon, because a nuclear capable state, nuclear weapon state, can threat the other country that we can use a nuclear weapon against you. So the other country will be fearful of doing anything against the country that possesses a nuclear weapon. So that's the first purpose. Second purpose of having nuclear weapon is deterrence. Means let's consider there is a state A that already possesses nuclear weapon, and there is another state B. If it also, let's say, develops nuclear weapon, in that case the country B, it can say that if the other country threats this country of using nuclear weapon, then it can also threat the other country, right, of using nuclear weapon against them. And also the other country will not dare to take any nuclear step against this particular country, okay, step of using nuclear weapon. So this is known as deterrence, okay. So possessing nuclear weapon does not only serve a military purpose, but it also serves a political purpose. It gives a message to other countries that we are nuclear capable state and we are also equally equipped to use nuclear weapons against the other country. So this, deterrence measure. So how do we get to know about this particular thing? Through the writings of a author. His name is Thomas Schelling, okay, Thomas Schelling. So I'm going to write about that particular author, Thomas. This is Schelling. So this particular person has widely written about nuclear deterrence, okay. He has written about nuclear deterrence. He talked about what do we mean by nuclear deterrence. He says if a country possesses nuclear weapon, that country also gives a political message that although the nuclear weapon may not be used, but nuclear weapon serves a strategic purpose. It serves a purpose that other countries should not threat the first country, should not threat of using nuclear weapon against, let's say, our country, like that. So this person has widely written about nuclear weapons during the Cold War era, okay, during the Cold War era. So he has written about, let's say, what purposes does the nuclear weapon solve. So it has he has written it, and he has won economic Nobel, okay, he has won economic Nobel Prize, okay, economic Nobel in the year of 2005. So name of this author is very, very important. And why articles nuclear weapon are coming nowadays? Because of two purposes. One reason was the use of atom bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In Hiroshima, it was used on 6th of August 1945, and on Nagasaki, it was used on 9th of August 1945. Okay, so atom bombs were used, and now we are in the month of August. 6th August has already passed, right? Yesterday, and 9th August is about to come. So people are remembering the, let's say, fatalities or the destruction that were caused by atom bomb in 1945 during World War II. And second thing is recently Russia has threatened the world that any country that tries to come in between Russia and Ukraine war, so that country is going to meet with, let's say, unprecedented let's say challenges against Russia. So Russia has said that whosoever tries to hinder Russia will face consequences never seen in history. Okay, so these are the things. And recently what has happened, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is in short known as NATO. So NATO countries have conducted a meeting among themselves, and after the meeting, the United States of America, USA president has declared, right, they had a meeting to discuss about how to respond the Russia's aggression over Ukraine. Okay, so they have together discussed and they have, let's say, come to a conclusion, and in that conclusion they have concluded that we do not want to, like, create a situation that can lead to World War III. We do not want to create a situation like that, and that's why these countries, NATO countries, do not want to, let's say, create that war, NATO versus Russia. Okay, they do not want to escalate the war at this level, NATO versus Russia. Okay, so they do not want to do it. Okay, they do not want to do it, NATO versus Russia, because the moment the war becomes NATO versus Russia, so, like, there is more probability, there is more likelihood that it may lead to World War III situation. Okay, that these people want to avoid, because, like, the world has seen the destructions caused by World War I and World War II. In both the world wars, huge number of lives have been lost, huge economic destruction has happened, and after then all those countries who have participated in the war, they have, let's say, like, participated in creation of United Nations organization. And one of the mandate of the United Nations organization is to, let's say, to protect the world from having third world war. Okay, so these countries have decided that thing. So that's why the USA president has also said that we do not want to make it Russia versus NATO war. So that's why so far they have not included Ukraine as a member of NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Because in North Atlantic Treaty Organization, there is a provision in Article 5. The Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization talks about collective security. It talks about collective security. So what do we mean by collective security? So under this clause, they have mentioned that an attack on any one of us, any one of the member of North Atlantic Treaty Organization, will be considered as an attack on all of us, means all the will be considered an attack against all the members of NATO, and they will together retaliate against the common enemy. Okay, so that was the posture that was taken by these countries together. Okay, so in this article, the author says that in today's changed political environment, the escalation management lessons of the Cold War no longer seem to work for the United States and Russia. Okay, so Cold War escalation, let's say, like, reduction strategies are not working now. Okay, so this is the message that the author wants to give through this article. All right, so with this, like, we will quickly move to the next topic. And before that, like, we have a question for you. You need to write this question in about, let's say, 150 words. It says, examine the role of North Atlantic Treaty Organization in ensuring peace and stability in the world. Okay, so you need to give an answer to this question. There are multiple aspects that you can discuss while writing an answer to this question. So with this, we will move to the next topic quickly. This topic says, India needs evidence-based ethics-driven medicine. Okay, India needs evidence-based ethics-driven medicine. So in this article, we will understand a very important topic, right? Allopathic medicine versus Ayurvedic medicine. Okay, so this topic is related to GS paper 2 and also GS paper 4 of the mains exam. Okay, so like we have mentioned about the syllabus part of it. Okay, here. So with this, let us quickly move to the to discuss the topic. Okay. Name of the topic is India needs evidence-based ethics-driven medicine. Okay, let's discuss about this article, and before this article I am going to read the crux of this article, which says the argument to reject homeopathy is not just based on its coloniality but chiefly on the lack of evidence of efficacy. Okay, so now in this article what we are going to understand, we are going to understand about, like, you know, about the central government's push. Okay, we are going to understand about central government's push towards promotion of Ayush system of medicine. Okay, Ayush system of medicine. Ayush stands for Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy. Okay, it also includes naturopathy as part of it, but like in the acronym it is not mentioned. So Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, naturopathy, Siddha and homeopathy. So the central government wants to, let's say, like equate this Ayush system of medicine with the allopathy. Allopathy means the kind of medicine, modern day medicine that we used. Okay, the English system of medicine. Okay, so that so government of India wants to, let's say, give equally status of this thing with, let's say, there are many Ayush doctors, like doctors who are homeopaths, right? So they want to let's say give equal importance of those doctors as an MBBS. Okay, as an MBBS doctor, like that. So there have been multiple moves from the government of India related to promotion of Ayush system of medicine at par with the allopathy medicine. I mean, like the English system of medicine that we are using. However, the author has talked about that Ayurveda. Okay, author has talked about Ayurveda, and author has mentioned about many points related to Ayurveda. Author said, like, author has quoted various research based projects. So author said that there have been innumerable number of, let's say, trials that have been conducted, and clinical trials. Okay, many trials have been conducted, and some of these trials were registered trials and some of them were unregistered trials. Okay, unregistered trials. So in registered trials, there were many few instances or no instances. Okay, no instances of efficacy being shown. Okay, no instances of efficacy being shown from the results, and there were few instances of efficacy. Okay, few instances of efficacy have been proved in Ayurvedic system. Apart from this, the author said that, like, here when we are talking about Ayurvedic medicine, so Ayurvedic medicine, I mean, like, they face the challenge of, let's say, one thing is the challenge of predictability. I mean, like, there is no predictability that whether the Ayush system of medicine will be showing efficacy against certain disease or not. Okay, why? Because there have been many cases where it has been reported that those people who are relying on Ayurvedic medicine, so what happens, like, either they are they are having that this medicine is will be fruit of imagination, self-deception and preconceived opinion. Means, like, the output of using these medicines are, let's say, man ghadat kahaniyan in Hindi. Means, like, they do not have any proved results of efficacy. So it says, like, their results will be, like, their results will be similar to self-deception or, right, self-deception or preconceived opinion. Okay, preconceived opinion. And author has also talked about that the World Health Organization, okay, World Health Organization has also given its opinions that the Ayurvedic system of medicine, okay, what the World Health Organization said, it says that the Ayurvedic medicines, okay, Ayurvedic medicines have no effect. Okay, they have no effect, and they have said that they cannot be used. Okay, there is no place of Ayurvedic system of medicine for treatment of HIV, tuberculosis, malaria. Okay, HIV, tuberculosis, malaria, then flu. Okay, malaria and flu. So the World Health Organization says that there is no use of Ayurvedic medicine for these things. Okay, like for human this is HIV thing, immunodeficiency virus, then tuberculosis, malaria and flu. Okay, so the author gives multiple, let's say, lot of suggestions, and also author highlights about many various studies that have been conducted, and in all those studies it has been concluded that Ayurvedic system of medicine has no or very less effects. Okay, less effects on treating a patient, because they are not evidence driven, they do not have evidence. However, if we talk about allopathy, okay, if we talk about allopathy, in case of allopathy, the doctors, doctors are not themselves setting the standards. These standards are set by, okay, global organization. Okay, these standards are set by global organizations. Okay, standards are set by global organizations, and they are evidence based. Okay, they are evidence based. Okay, so that's the thing, and they do have, let's say, randomized controlled trials, and there are many methods of, let's say, seeing the efficacy. Okay, seeing the efficacy of allopathic medicines. Okay, so these are the things that the author has mentioned. So that's why author has said that India needs evidence-based, ethics-driven medicine. Okay, evidence-based, ethics-driven medicine. So they have given multiple points related to this. So with this, we will move to the next topic. This is the third topic, okay, that we are going to discuss. In this topic, the author has talked about, should the age of consent be revised in India? Okay, age of consent. So let's discuss about it. Should the age of consent be revised? Okay, be revised in India. This is the question that we need to answer. So basically, one of the reporter of the Hindu newspaper has interacted with two professionals, right? One of the professionals is Shraddha Chaudhary. She is a PhD researcher at the Faculty of Law, University of Cambridge. And then there is another person, Bharti Ali. She is co-founder and executive director of HUC, Center for Child Rights. Okay, so the reporter has spoken with these people to ascertain what should be the age of consent. Now let us understand about this particular topic, why this topic came. Okay, so this topic, so we need to understand, first of all, we need to understand about what do we mean by age of consent. What do we mean by age of consent? Age of consent is that particular age, right? That particular age, let's say 18 years, right? 18 years as per with POCSO, Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act, okay? Which is in short known as POCSO Act. Then as per the Indian Penal Code, okay, it is 16 years, okay? As per the Indian Penal Codes, it is 16 years. So age of consent is that age at which a person, right, can enter into, let's say, can willfully enter into, willfully means with his decision, his or her decision, can willfully enter into sexual intercourse, okay, sexual intercourse with any partner, okay, with any partner. So that is known as age of consent. The age at which a person can legally, lawfully, right, and with his own, let's say, believe, with his own, let's say, agreement, right, can enter into a sexual intercourse with another person, okay. This is the lawful age. So according to the POCSO Act, POCSO means Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act. this age is 18 years and according to Indian Penal Code it is 16 years. Okay. So now let us discuss like why this age of consent related thing is in news. Because recently there have been many instances where the cases have been filed in courts of law, in the high courts, in the Supreme Court and in various district courts. And in many of the cases, the high courts have dismissed the plea, okay, dismissed the plea that a person, a minor, let's say like, there is a girl child, there is a girl. So like, so the high courts have dismissed any case of, any case to be registered against a person who has entered into this like, sexual relationship with a minor. Okay. So now let us discuss about this case. Okay. So let's discuss about this case. So if I talk about this Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act, if we talk about this POCSO Act, right? Under this POCSO Act, it has been made a criminal offense. Okay, it has been made a criminal offense for any person who enters into sexual relationship. Okay, who enters into sexual relationship with anyone who is, okay, who is under the age of 18 years. And this POCSO Act is gender neutral. Okay, it is gender neutral. Gender neutral means it protects the girls as well as boys under the age of 18 years. Okay. So anyone, let's say there is an adult person who enters into sexual relationship with any minor. So that adult person will be considered as a criminal under this particular act. And in the POCSO Act, they have mentioned about two things. Okay, they have mentioned about one is penetrative sexual assault and other is known as aggravated penetrative sexual assault. Okay, so there are two things. Okay, so there are two kind of things that they have mentioned in the POCSO Act. One is penetrative sexual assault. The second is known as aggravated. Aggravated means of a higher form of, right? Aggravated penetrative sexual assault. Okay. For this penetrative sexual assault, the term of imprisonment would be 10 years, and for aggravated thing, it will be 20 years. Okay, 20 years. But the thing is, like in many cases, what happens, there have been cases where a minor girl child, okay, let's say a minor girl child, she enters into sexual relationship with an adult, okay, with an adult male who is above the age of, let's say, 21 years, and this minor girl child is less than 18 years. So now, if we see according to the POCSO Act, if we see this particular thing according to the lenses of POCSO Act, so this will be considered, right, if let's say like it was done only once, right? So this will be considered as a criminal offense under this particular thing. Okay, so under this it will be considered as a criminal offense. So this particular person will be held liable. Okay, this person will be held liable for any act of omission. Let's say like like this person will be held liable under this. And if there are repeated instances, okay, if there are repeated instances of, right, repeated instances, in that case it will be read as per this thing, aggravated sexual assault, right? So that person will be considered as a let's say criminal. Okay, so this is the case. However, like in the court of law, what happens, the girl child gives her opinion that like she has done this thing with her consent, means like her consent was there. Now in India, we do not have a coherence. We do not have a coherence that talks about what should be the age of consent, because in different laws we do have different age mentioned. Like according to the Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act, it is 18 years, and according to Indian Penal Code, it is 16 years. Okay, so now people are talking about like what should be the age of consent. Should the state revise this particular thing? Should there be any, let's say, amendment into the existing act? Should there be any amendment, to, let's say, come to a exact number, whether 14 years, 16 years, 18 years, that this should be the age of consent. Okay, so related to that, this topic has been written, and the author have said that a proper study has to be conducted by taking into consideration multiple factors, right? Multiple factors have to be taken into consideration before coming to a conclusion, right? What should be the age of consent? Okay, so like this discussion is related to that. So with this, we'll move to the next topic quickly. This says, why is the biological diversity bill facing opposition? Okay, so here in the gist they have mentioned the proposed amendments to Biological Diversity Act exempts user of codified traditional knowledge and Ayush industry from benefit sharing provision. Okay, so in this article we are going to discuss some of the important things that are related to the biological diversity bill. Okay, name of the topic is, why is the biological diversity bill? Why is the biological diversity bill facing opposition? So let's discuss about this particular topic. So this is like, recently the Rajya Sabha has passed Biological Diversity Amendment Bill 2021. Okay, so recently the Rajya Sabha has passed Biological Diversity Amendment Bill 2021. So this bill is facing criticism. Why it is facing criticism? Because like, if we talk about the Biological Diversity Act, that Biological Diversity Act, right, in short, like I'll be writing BDA, Biological Diversity Act, it talks about let's say, like, you know, access and benefit sharing, which is known as free. So it talks about fair and equitable sharing of benefits. Okay, it is known as fair and equitable sharing of benefits. And other provision that it has is related to, let's say, codified traditional knowledge. Okay, other thing is related to codified traditional knowledge. So let's discuss about this thing quickly. So earlier the Biological Diversity Act that was in place, that Biological Diversity Act tries to protect the biological diversity of different places in India, right? In India. So it has a provision that says codified traditional knowledge. So like, you know, biological diversity includes some biological resources also. And the local communities, people who are involved in the, let's say, like, you know, involved in those areas that are using the local medicines by extracting some of the, let's say, resources from the forest, from the jungle. So like, you know, they will be they are known as local communities, and they are given fair and equitable sharing of benefits. Means like those industries, those companies who are using the, let's say, resources from the local traditions, so those companies have a mandate that they will be sharing the benefit that they derive from the biological resources. However, the government of India has recently come up with a Biological Diversity Amendment Bill, and this particular amendment bill does away with, okay, this bill says that this fair and equitable benefit sharing is not needed. It is not needed for the Ayush practitioners, okay, for the Ayush practitioners. Why it is not needed? They say that the Ayush practitioners can use it for multiple purposes that includes research and development also, okay. So this has allowed the Ayush practitioners to use the biological resources without sharing the benefits to the local communities. So this is a point of contention that is being, let's say, opposed by different people across India. So this is one part. And other thing is like, it talks about this codified traditional knowledge. I mean, like they exempt the codified traditional knowledge from this particular thing. So that's why it has been in news. So the thing is like people are saying that like, this particular access and benefit sharing is an internationally recognized practice, right? And India has adopted some international practice related to this, and this should be made a part of this amendment bill itself, and it should not be amended. This is the, let's say, like opinion of different people related to this. So that's why this Biological Diversity Act is facing this thing, opposition from different members. Okay, so Ayush stands for Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy. It also has Naturopathy, but although in the acronym that Naturopathy is not mentioned. So we do have two questions. One question is, consider the following statements about Biological Diversity Amendment Bill 2023. Okay, so there are two statements. It says it amends the Biological Diversity Act 2002 for simplifying compliance requirements for domestic companies. This is the thing. Second, users of codified traditional knowledge and Ayush practitioners will be exempt from the from sharing benefits with local communities. Both these statements are right. Okay, so we are talking about amendment bill. Okay, amendment bill 2021. Okay, in the newspaper it is mentioned 2021. So both the above are right. So option C would be the right answer. We have also included explanation of this thing, right? It can be downloaded from the description. Apart from this, like we have another topic which says coup in Niger. So Niger is, let's say, one of the country in Africa, in the northern Africa, there is a country, Niger. So in Niger, recently, the army establishments, army have, let's say, conducted a coup. Coup means a military operation where they detain or they, overthrow the democratically elected government, the politicians. I mean, like, so recently the army establishment of Niger, what they have done, they have, let's say, detained the president of Niger, and also they have come into power, through this means. So this is being opposed by different countries and different people. France and United States of America, right? France and USA, they have, let's say, like, come with a strong opinion against this particular coup. And so they have said to the military leaders that you should reinstate, you should bring back to power the former president of the Niger, and also you should, let's say, like, abstain from doing any wrongful activity in Niger. And soon after the coups, there have been many civil rebellion that is happening inside Niger. So this topic is related to this. I mean, like, this is just a quick note on this particular thing. So we will not go into much deep, but we should be knowing about this. There are many countries in the same belt in the African region, to the left and to the right. All those countries have earlier seen this kind of military coup. And recently in Myanmar also there have been a military coup. Okay, so Myanmar government was also toppled through a military coup like recently. Now, this is another topic. This topic is related to Article 370 of the Constitution of India, right? So the editorial discussion class is just going to start like within 5 to 10 minutes. I'm discussing the newspaper articles now. Okay, so this is the continuation of this. Now, this is Article 370. It says Article 370 was a compact entered into between two sovereign nations. So the thing is, like, all of us know that in 2019, the Parliament of India has abrogated Article 370 of the Constitution. Abrogation means, like, changing the provision of the article. Now, this Article 370 of the Constitution was in place when the Constitution of India was drafted, and also later on, let's say, it was adopted in the Constituent Assembly of the Jammu and Kashmir also. So Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly, they have agreed that, like, Article 370 will have mention of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And they needed one important thing. They needed that, like, if any changes is to be done in the Article 370 of the Constitution of India, they also need concurrence from the State Legislative Assembly, not a State Legislative Assembly, which that was the Constituent Assembly of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. However, what has happened soon after the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir was completed, made, the Constituent Assembly ceased to exist. The Constituent Assembly do not exist now. Now the Parliament of India has abrogated Article 370 and the cases have been filed in the Supreme Court of India. So Mr. Kapil Sibal, he is appearing on behalf of the petitioners from the Jammu and Kashmir against the abrogation of Article 370, and this case is being heard in the Supreme Court, and the Chief Justice of India is also a member of the board of, let's say, like judges, like who is hearing this particular matter. So Mr. Kapil Sibal has said that this Article 370 was a compact, it was a kind of agreement that was signed between two sovereigns. Sovereigns means the Jammu and Kashmir was a sovereign, it was a princely state, and Government of India was a sovereign. So it was signed by two sovereign states, and now the Parliament of India was a creature of the Constitution itself. It should not have acted in this manner. Kapil Sibal said it should not have acted in this manner by abrogating Article 370, because there was a provision that they should look into the concerns of the Constituent Assembly of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. However, the Chief Justice of India has said that the Constituent Assembly of the Jammu and Kashmir no longer exists. So, since it no longer exists, so it has become functus officio. Okay, so there is a term that they have used. This is known as functus officio. What do we mean by functus officio? Functus officio means that, let's say there is an arbitrator. Once he takes a decision, so that decision will be considered as final and binding for himself, also for others. And even after that, the same arbitrator will not be having the authority to relook into this particular thing. I mean, like, he will not be have the authority to revise the decision that was taken. So the Chief Justice of India has said that the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, right, was authoritative body when it took the decision, and after this Constituent Assembly ceased to exist, now they do not have the authority to, let's say, relook into this particular thing. However, Kapil Sibal says that after Constituent Assembly there came the State Legislative Assembly. So now State Legislative Assembly should be consulted. Okay. However, the Chief Justice of India said, like, are you comparing it with the basic structure of the Constitution of India? Okay, so hearing is going on in the court, in the Supreme Court, related to this matter, and a lot of things are coming up related to this. So a final verdict has not yet been given. Okay, so like this particular provision is still being debated. Okay, these things are being debated in the Supreme Court of India.